Everybody. I'm Maeve. I'm from Coastal Mountains Land Trust. I'm a Maine Conservation Corps member. Our organization is focused on conserving land.
Can you speak up a little bit, please?
I can speak up a lot. I don't think so.
For the Zoom audience, it does not amplify the sound.
I'm a very soft speaker, which is cool. I work with kiddos a lot. But our organization, Coastal Mountains Land Trust, we conserve land in Knox and Waldo counties. Our service region is from Rockport all the way up to Prospect. And we're also focused on connecting folks to land through free community programs. I have some flyers here for folks in the room with our upcoming events for the rest of the fall. And then I also have a sign up for our digital e-newsletter. We send it out twice a month. Really good way to keep up with us. And you can also check us out on Facebook and Instagram. And then our website is coastalmountains.org. Roger is one of our board members. He is also the vice president of the Maine Entomological Society. He's a really talented photographer and a retired endocrinologist, a very wonderful and very smart man. And he's been giving talks on iNaturalist for the past 3 years. So we're really excited to have him here tonight. And we're really excited to be back at the library. Yay! I'll turn it over to Roger now.
Thank you, Maeve. Thank you, Julia. This is going to be really interesting. It took us, Julia and I, about 2 hours to figure out how to get my iPhone onto the screen. Now we hope it works. Okay. So
Bear with us on the technology. It's
okay.
It's uncharted, but
the screen sharing has ended due to an unknown, so we'll get rid of that. Let me X out of that, confirm in session, then we can restart it. So this will take a minute, but it's well worth the wait.
just build up the anticipation.
You could dim the room lights, it would really help a lot.
Dim the.
Oh,
yeah.
I
Usually do that. Thank you for the reminder.
Just turn them off.
They were hiding behind this dog, so
I had this.
Here we go. Okay.
let's see. Is it cooperating?
Is there a rheostat on these, or are they just on off?
On these ones, these ones can be dimmed too.
Yeah.
That would help me.
Yeah, me too.
Referring to a lot as big rock. I would turn them off, just tell me a later. Thank you. That's what the rock.
Okay, we're just about ready. I get the Zoom. So is Zoom already on?
Right, so then
okay.
full screen first,
All right,
and then Zoom.
Okay, so now I
Zoom here, then.
perfect.
Okay, thanks for waiting, everyone.
Okay. All right, so
And we can even actually hide this thing so that it's not in the way. There we go.
Julia, you're wonderful. So anyhow, about 5-6 years ago, I learned about iNaturalist, and I had thousands of photos from the last 21 years of digital photography burning up space on my hard drive on my computer, and this has offered a way to actually use it. So what I'm going to do today is start from the beginning. Someone has no experience, but we'll rapidly go through what iNaturalist can do and how you can use it. There'd be much too much if you're trying to take notes to remember, but thankfully this will be going up on the Camden Public Library YouTube site, so you can go back and take a look at this. So right now, I'm going to make believe you all have iNaturalist on your iPhone or your smartphone, and I'm going to start it on mine. And is it coming up on the Zoom?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to punch the iNaturalist app at the bottom here. And this brings up my own iNaturalist account. Now, so the moment you have an account, and we'll go into how to actually get an account established on a computer itself. This is what you'll see. This is me, over 13,000 observations, and my most recent ones are up there. And it's that me button at the bottom is what you're seeing now. But I'm going to push the next one over. It says observe right at the bottom. And what it says is camera, library, or record sound. So iNaturalist can actually record sound as well. The trouble is it can't identify sound. So now I'm going to press the camera button. And this shows the camera. And we're just going to take a picture of this prop that I have right here and go just take the picture. And then it says retake or use a photo. Well, that's not bad. I think that'll work. So we're going to hit the use photo. And then it says, what did you see? About halfway down. I'm going to hit that. And now it's loading suggestions. And it says it thinks it's winterberry holly. And that's exactly what it is. Now, so what I can do is just tap on winterberry holly. And then now it says at the bottom share. So if I wanted to upload this to iNaturalist, I'd hit the share button and it would upload. When I'm out in the field, that actually takes a fair amount of data. So I usually don't do that. I just leave it on my iPhone and transfer the photos to my computer later on. But you can do that. If you have an unlimited data plan and you've got a good connection, then there's no reason not to. I'm going to hit the cancel button up top, but that's how you actually load a photo of what you've seen on iNaturalist. Now, the photo is important. And you can imagine iNaturalist has two benefits. One is artificial intelligence. It's got millions and millions of photos to compare yours to, but the other, it has real people. And you want a real person to confirm that it agrees with what you thought this thing was. In order to do that, you need to have a good photo. If you have a little tiny dot of an insect on a big screen, nobody's going to want to look at that. So you have to crop the photo on your iPhone. And let me just see if I can show you how to do that real quick. I'm going to step out of iNaturalist, go to my photos. I'll just choose a photo here of this mushroom. And if you hit the edit button at the top, this is on an iPhone, it then opens up a way to crop. And there's this, on the very bottom, there's a kind of a yin yang sign and a square. That's the crop thing. And you hit that and you can actually pull in like that and just say, okay, done. And I've now cropped the photo. This didn't really need cropping, but that's important. And so the quality of the photo is important. And there are real people who look at your photos. And so please don't put a picture of your dog or your spouse, just so you can have a human up there. Really treat it seriously because they're very serious and expert people that look at this. So anyhow, so we're going to go back to iNaturalist now, got this here, and I'm going to go to observe again at the bottom. Go to this time, instead of the camera, hit the photo library. And that brings up the different things on my library. And I clicked on that mushroom again. And I press in the upper right-hand corner, add. Okay, so it added it to iNaturalist. And now we can go, what did you see? And it says it's golden spindles. Okay, and now I happen to know that's what it is. So I'm going to hit that. And this time I'm actually going to share, hit the share button at the bottom, and it will upload it to my iNaturalist account. And there it is. So that's all I think you should do on a smartphone. Now, you can go further, and if, for instance, I'll tap on that golden spindles again, it shows where I took the picture at the bottom.
Is that from the info in your photo?
Right. Okay, which is another important thing, is smartphones will geotag a photo, and that's really helpful. And if you're going to use a camera, it's helpful if the camera can geotag, and that's way beyond what I can describe in this talk, but it's really helpful. It saves time. But I'm going to show you how, if it's not geotagged, how you can actually say where you took the picture. Okay.
May we ask questions?
Sure. Yeah.
A quick one. Is this just vegetation plants now, or could you do this with birds, animals? Okay. So the question was, is this just plants? No, it's anything that has DNA. Okay. So it doesn't do rocks. And it doesn't do anything that a plant or animal or fungus, any of those things. So now I'm going to get out of this, because this is, again, there is an I button that you'll see when you upload something for more information, but it's cumbersome on a smartphone, and that's why we're going to now go to the computer. So I'm going to try to get out of all this. Okay, we have to stop sharing. I'm going to let Julia do this. Stop sharing. Oh, you're so good. I think that's good.
Hide this.
Wow. Okay, we got to move me around. So.
Oh, you can click the little hyphen type thing.
Yeah.
Click that.
That'll get rid of me.
Good. Yeah.
Okay, good. All right. So now you're on your computer, and you've loaded the iNaturalist app onto your computer just by going to iNaturalist.org. And once you do that, okay, I'm going to show you how to sign up. You hit the sign up button. You put in an email. You make a username. So my email is roger.rittmaster@gmail.com. My username is rogerritt. And you make up a password. Okay, and then you say, I'm not a robot.
No robots allowed, I guess.
Yeah. And then below, you have to consent to the various things. Now, what is this all about? iNaturalist is a public forum. If you want your photo to be private, if you want to sell photographs or something, don't put them up on iNaturalist. You're sharing with the world, okay? Anybody can download off iNaturalist. They can take a screenshot. They can do all kinds of things. Now, the standard license says if you're going to use a photo that someone is up there, you should ask permission. Or actually, it says you should acknowledge them. You don't even have to ask permission. You just acknowledge that they took it. But there's no monitoring of that. So I'm assuming that anything photo I take is open for the world to see and use however it wants. I have had several people ask if they could have my photos and use them. And I usually send the original file at that point, because I have the original file, which is a higher fidelity copy of it, a larger copy. So I consent to allow iNaturalist to store and process limited kinds of personal information. That's so, yes, this photo belongs to you. You're the one who took it. I consent to allow my personal information to be transferred to the United States of America. iNaturalist is worldwide. So, and the database is held, I think, by Amazon. But anyhow, it's in the United States. So
it doesn't mean to the United States government.
No.
Oh.
No, not at all. iNaturalist just became its own nonprofit. It used to be the National Geographic Society and the California something or other.
Academy of Sciences.
Academy of Sciences, right. Thank you.
And I agree to the terms and privacy policies, and then you create an account. Okay, well, I'm gonna step out of this because, oh, well, I can just go to the bottom here and say, I already have an account, so I'm gonna log in. I'll put my username, Roger Ritt, it's already up there, put my password in. Hopefully that's correct.
Someone on Zoom asked, can you use iNaturalist without making an account?
You can, I would say that you can do so much more if you have an account. There's some things you can do, a lot you can't do. For instance, you can't ask questions, you can't. I'm not sure what the limitation is since I've always had an account. Okay, so this is my account. And I'll explain what this is, but I just want to show you what the power of iNaturalist is by looking at this one observation before we go into how you do anything. Okay, so I took this picture of this dragonfly in Ecuador, and I posted it to iNaturalist, and I thought it was Canophila insularis, okay? And this person says he disagrees with this, and he says it's Canophila vibex. And that person happens to be Dennis Paulson. And so I could, if I didn't know him, I could click on him, and that's a picture of Dennis Paulson. And one of the important things is that he's written Dragonflies and Damselflies of Costa Rica. This is probably the world's expert on neotropical dragonflies. Okay, so I said to Dennis Paulson, I assume this is an immature male. What features distinguish it? Because I looked and I really had trouble telling why he thought this. And his response was, but it doesn't occur in the highlands. In fact, just yesterday I learned of the first record of the species south of Central America. I took this in Ecuador. He could have said, "You idiot!" If you had looked up at the distribution of this species, your species on iNaturalist, you would have seen that it doesn't occur south of Panama. But a very nice thing, and I can say that only once have I had anything that was curt or anything less than helpful. And so here am I, a very amateur naturalist in rural Maine, communicating with one of the world's experts on neotropical dragonflies. And you can do this, and you will likely get a response. And we'll go into more some other ways you can use that. Okay, that was just a show and tell, just to get you interested. Whoops, I gotta log back in, or maybe just go this way. Okay, what I'm gonna start with is my observations, and I have to get my cheat sheet now so I don't forget anything.
So Roger, if you put something on, does it automatically go out there for somebody to say you're
Yes.
right or wrong?
Yes,
You don't have to do anything special.
you don't have to do anything
So when
special.
nobody answers you, nobody is interested.
And there's a way to get somebody interested. And I'm going to talk about that. So, okay. That's the neat thing about iNaturalist, though. It's not only artificial intelligence, it's people out there. So, talked about establish an account. Okay, how to upload photos from a computer. So hopefully, Julia, I still have my
Yes, it should be on the
new folder. No,
left. No, in it.
iNat
Yeah.
Talk. There we go. Oh, yeah, here we go. All right. Okay. Whoops, let's see if I can get back to there, get here. Okay. So the first thing I want to do is upload a photo. Now, this button here, that's the upload button. Sometimes it says upload, but if it's a small enough screen, it'll just have an arrow. And I click on that. Okay, and then all you have to do is have the photos on your desktop or hard drive somewhere. And so we have this in a folder on the desktop, and I'm just going to press on a couple of photos. There's the shift button, okay. Oops, there we go. And drag these photos onto the upload screen. Okay.
And now we'll start with this moth. You might not even know it's a moth, it doesn't matter. And actually, I'll make this full screen again, so hold on. Okay. We're pretty sure this is in the genus Agripphylla, and we think it's the lesser vagabond sod webworm moth. Okay, so I'm gonna click on that. It might be right, it might be wrong. And then I'm gonna go to view. And that's gonna take me to the web page for this particular species. And now I'm gonna go over what each of the things this is. So here's the scientific name, the common name, if there is one. And we're gonna start with, okay, here's the person who has uploaded the most images of this moth. Here's the top identifier, Hugh McGuinness. It was last observed on this date and the total number of observations. But what really is helpful is this. So this says, okay, what time of year is this moth seen? August through September. This is worldwide, but we'll get back to that. Under the green is the number that are confirmed. Once somebody agrees with the ID, it becomes, quote, research grade. And that gives it certain priorities when searches are made. But there's all these others that haven't been confirmed. And that instantly makes me worried. Was this confirmed appropriately or inappropriately, or a lot of the images they just can't tell? So that's just a flag, and I'll tell you what I'm going to do about that. Okay, so then we can go down further down the page and go to map. And this shows all the images of this worldwide. They happen to all be in the United States and Canada. And what I can see is that most of them are in the Northeast, where we are. There are a few out here. And again, if I made this observation in Alaska, I would say, okay, I'm probably wrong. But anyhow, maybe not. But it seems like it's out of the range.
Are those red dots the research grade observations, or all of them?
I think they're all of them, but I don't know that for sure. So the question was whether these all research grade observations. I think this might be any observation. Okay.
Did you say research grade just means verified by one additional
That's
person?
right.
So
yeah, so research grade the question was, is this research grade just one additional person? Yes. And that presents a problem. Let's say you put something and you're wrong. And there are a lot of compulsive people who love to just identify hundreds and hundreds and thousands of things. And one person may say, oh, yes, I agree with you. Suddenly it becomes research grade. Or even worse, you put something, let's say the genus level, and somebody who doesn't really know what they're doing puts a species on there. And then you say, oh, he must know what he's doing. I'll agree with him. And suddenly you've created a research grade observation that may or may not be correct. And that happens all the time. So one of the criticisms of iNaturalist is that there's that problem. The research grade may be meaningless. And I would say, yes, that's true, but you have the opportunity, again, by talking to experts, to actually figure out if something really deserves that research grade or not, if it matters to you.
So it doesn't have to be an expert that responds. Anybody.
Right, anybody could respond. Okay.
I imagine a kid getting on there and just going.
Well, yes, but remember, you can click on the person and see their description, although some people don't put a description of themselves. But I would encourage you, when you sign up, there's and actually we'll go back to that, what you want to say about yourself. Okay, so that's the map. If you click on About, and again, we're on the same species page, you get the Wikipedia write-up. Now, sometimes there is no Wikipedia write-up, and it just be a blank page, basically. But sometimes there's as much as 2 or 3 pages on a particular species. Taxonomy gives you, from the kingdom all the way down to the species, the different rankings of this organism. That's sometimes useful especially if you're not sure what it is and want to go up a level. I'll show you how you can search for different species within a genus, a family, whatever, in a particular area. Status just means is it conserved or not? We have no conservation status. Taxon is any level of scientific name, starting with species, genus, family, all the way up to kingdom. Each one is a taxon. That's all that means. Similar species is really helpful because it tells you, okay, what people have mistakenly called the species and it got corrected. And sometimes that's as important as anything because you can see, oh, this actually looks more like what I've got than what iNaturalist told me I have. Okay, so curation I wouldn't worry about. That's if you have to flag something that's unclear or wrong. There are curators for various species, and it'll tell the curator of the species, hey, there's a problem here. Okay, so there was all this issue with this, and I click on Hugh McGinnis, and again, I happen to know who he is. He's one of the world's experts and on this, on moths in general. So what I could do, going back to the upload page, which, where's that up here, the add observation page. I could, okay, so I can put this up and, well, actually, we're going to wait a sec, so I'm going to do all these. Okay, so the other two species, I'm going to drag this over here so it's a little easier. Okay, so these two are the same individual. So if I wanted to, I could click on one, hold the shift key down, click on, whoops, I got all, I don't want you. I just want these two. Let's try once more. No, that's not working. Okay. If I use control, there, I use the control button. Okay, so there's a bunch of stuff you can do. And so I've highlighted these two. I can remove them from the upload page. I can combine them into one observation, and that's what you should do since it's the same bug. You could duplicate an image if there's more than one thing in it that you want to identify. I would discourage that because, for instance, let's say there's another bug low down, lower right-hand corner. It's better to crop that and save it as a new image, whoops, than to include the same image for two different species. The reason is iNaturalist doesn't know if you put lower right in the comments, it doesn't know that it's not the main thing that's in that image that you're referring to. So it actually confuses the artificial intelligence of iNaturalist if the subject you're looking at is not the main focus of the image. Okay, you can write a note at the bottom, but I'm going to combine these two. And another easy way to combine it is just click on a blank spot on the image and just drag it over. Okay, now it has two images. We'll go, and it says it's a green stink bug. And if we go to the view page, well, I'm going to actually say, okay, I agree with that. It doesn't look very green. That's because if you look carefully at one image, I don't know how well you'll be able to see it, it has these wing pads here, but it doesn't have wings. It's a larva. So it's an immature, or a nymph, I should say. It's an immature form, but it recognized that. So if you want to see what the adult looks like, that's great. Or if you want to see some of the immature ones, oh, I didn't tell you what I just did. I said view more. You can see an immature here. So I'll put that up there. And that looks like what we've got. So it was able to recognize the immature form of this. Okay, so we've done all that. And now I want to get back to the add observation. And we said that. I think that's right. This may be wrong. So I'm going to submit these two observations. And so it's saving those. And if we're lucky, okay. This connection is slower than mine at home. We'll see. Sometimes the website is so busy as well that it takes time. There we go. Okay. So now I'm going to go to my observations up here. And hopefully it'll appear up there. Yeah, here they are. And I'm clicking on this. So what I'm going to do, not now, is actually leave a comment and go at Hugh McGinnis, that person, and say, I'm not sure of the ID. Can you confirm or refute this? And that allows him to say yes or no, where he might not otherwise look at it. So.
Are some of the experts just like perusing photos that people submit?
Yes. But somebody like Hugh McGinnis, when people, there's just thousands and thousands of moths that come up. So I don't know what he does. Actually, I have gone to his, clicked on his name, and he said during the school year, he doesn't routinely monitor because it's just too much to do. But, and he says, please tag me.
Oh, nice.
If you need my help. So, and again, that's just so typical of people. All right, where are we now? Let me just go to my notes. Okay, so this is the observation. One problem with iNaturalist is just a minor thing, is often you're at this, you have this in front of you and you said, where did the top line go? And it's because it's not quite up to the top. This button's missing. Okay, so now I'm under my observations. And what it says is I have over 13,000 observations, almost 7,000 species. Identifiers are people who've confirmed or refuted what I've said. So, and then it's just me, the one observer. Okay, I'm on the grid right now, which shows just sequentially everything I've uploaded to iNaturalist over the past many days. If I go to map, it shows everywhere in the world that I've identified or that I've taken photos. So I use iNaturalist as a travel log. Whenever I go anywhere, I make sure I take a picture of some species and upload it to iNaturalist. And I usually remember where I've taken a photo. So if somebody said, what year do we do, my wife says, what year do we go to this one place? I can find it on iNaturalist the quickest of anything. So another side benefit. If you want to get rid of all this stuff in the front, you just click on this button here. And now you can see all over the world.
What is the darker, more vibrant red versus the lighter?
It's just where I've taken the most pictures. I used to live in North Carolina, so that's right here. Here's Camden, Maine, right here. I love traveling, as you can see, and this is all the places I've been in the past 21 years since digital photography was around. Okay, so list, I never use this list, so I can't talk much about it, but it's just a list of it, of everything that's on the grid. Okay, so okay, now we're going to go to how to use this. One of my favorite types of insects is weevils. And so I want to show you how to search when you've got a bunch of things. So weevils, this is the family or superfamily. Okay, I've gone there. And I've taken 45 pictures of weevils. This shows you why I love weevils. Look how cute they are. I mean, these guys are just unbelievable. They're really neat things. Okay, but let's say I found a weevil in my backyard and want to know, okay, have I seen this before? I could simply go Knox County, Knox, Maine, I think Knox County, Maine. And I've photographed 11 species of weevils in Knox County. These are 15 observations. If I want to go look at the species, here are the species I photographed. And I can compare something new to saying, have I seen this before? So
What's the difference between a weevil and a beetle?
A weevil is a type of beetle. And if you are on the email list for Coastal Mountain Land Trust, my next Nature Now is going to be on how to tell a beetle from a bug, a fly from a wasp, all these things. Anyhow, but a weevil is a type of beetle. Okay, so you can do all this searching of when you've got a lot of stuff. I'm just backing out till I get, okay. We've talked about research grades. So here's something, I just posted this an hour ago, actually, this one. And somebody said, yes, I agree with you, Catherine G. We'll see who she is. She doesn't know that she's now immortalized on the YouTube website. And it tells about her. It just, so sometimes it's useful. And so getting back to your own, when you sign up, I really encourage you to go to account settings and go to, for instance, your profile, which is right here. So I put a picture of myself. This happens to be 16 or 17 years ago. I haven't had a nice enough picture since, and I like people to think I'm really young. But sometime I will upload a new photo. This is what I've said. I'm retired endocrinologist living in Camden, Maine. I consider myself an amateur naturalist because I don't want people, even though some still do, they see I've taken 500 pictures of butterflies in Ecuador, thinking I'm an expert on butterflies in Ecuador. But if they haven't read this, sometimes they tag me and says, what is this butterfly? And I say, I have no idea. Sometimes I know. Okay, so we'll go back to actually.
Yeah, question on Zoom.
Yeah.
Do you ever worry about security issues with posting your location data?
Oh, that's a great question, and the answer is no. But that's a very individual thing. People can figure out where I live from where I posted things on iNaturalist. So what I didn't do, and I meant to do on the upload button, is how to show location. So we're going to go back to that because it's a good question, and I forgot. Okay, so we're going to up to the upload area. I'm going to put this back on here. Okay, so this was taken somewhere in Lincolnville, but let's say I took it in my backyard in Camden and didn't want people to know that. I could click on this, or because there's only one, I can click right here. But if there's more than one, I can do more than one thing over here. So if the date was different than it says here, I could change the date. If the location is different, okay, here's the location, but it could have been my backyard. And let's say I'd rather have it just generically say Camden, Maine. I could type in Camden, and it knows where I am. So I'd say Camden here, and then it puts the dot here. And so it's not right in my backyard. So you can change the location. You can actually hide the location, but I think it's better to put a generic location so people can see, oh yeah, this was taken in Camden, Maine. That's close enough to where I live. Then you can make this, you can make the circle as big or small as you want. If you touch the center, you can move it and create a location that's different. So getting back to the question, let me just leave here. Does it matter? Yeah, if you're worried about somebody knowing where you live, I've gotten used enough to social media that the world knows all about me in multiple ways. In fact, if you Google me, you'll get the endocrinologist in Camden, Maine, call for appointments or something. So every once in a while, I haven't seen a patient in 20 years, but I said every once in a while I get somebody saying, "Oh, I was surprised that there's an endocrinologist locally. Can you help me?" I said, "No, you get what you pay for, and I'm incompetent." So, okay. So that's the profile. Let's go back now. I want to go back to full screen, back to account settings.
Also, it's about 45 minutes, just so you know.
Okay. All right. So all these other buttons are important. Notifications. I want to know when somebody does anything to one of my photos, so I've clicked all these things. You might not want to know, but I do. If somebody says, I disagree with you, I want to be sure I get notified of that. And I get a daily email from iNaturalist summarizing what anybody has told me. But there's another way of doing this. If you don't want all the notifications, you can go here and go to dashboard. Okay, so what the dashboard is anything anybody has done for your photos or with your photos, starting with the most recent. So here's that dragonfly, because that just happened. But, and if I'm following anybody, and I'll show you how to follow somebody, but if I'm following anybody, they come up here as well. So I just go to my content right here. So now it's only my stuff that'll come up, and just go down. I can see what people have done, all the different comments that were made. And I go through each one of them and respond if I need to respond, or at least I know. Let me just show something. Oh, okay, we'll go back to this one because it actually is quite good. So when Dennis Paulson said he disagreed with me, I withdrew my ID by clicking on this down area here, and well, I've already withdrawn. Normally it would say withdraw ID. It would give that as an option, but I've already withdrawn. That's all I did until he answered me and told me why it was the dragonfly. At that point, I agreed with him, and that's a button that was right here, but since I've already agreed with him, it doesn't show up. I hit agree, and then it puts me saying it's the same thing. It makes it research grade. But I took the time to make sure, even though he was an expert, that yes, that I agreed with his ID, because I don't want any junk research grade images on in my account, although there are probably some there anyhow. Okay.
Shell you had on there?
The shell.
Below the dragonfly, is that a shell?
Let's go back. This is no. Okay, we got to go back to my content. Hold on one sec.
It was a shell.
So somebody asked, I assume the people on the web cannot hear the question. So the question was, this is shell. This is an anemone here. Okay, and this is a shell. Yeah.
So shells, you can't do rocks, but you can do shells?
Yes, you can. Well, because the shell is a.
Well, they're empty.
Well, they may or may not be. This one had an animal in it.
Oh.
Okay, but an empty shell is okay. I mean, it's as are signs of insects. So I've taken a couple courses on leaf miners, insects that live inside leaves, and you can see the pattern, and you photograph that, and yeah, there's ways of figuring out what it is. It's a species, a specific species, and that's fine.
Would it identify spore of mammals?
Yeah, so feces of mammals, yes. Now, it may not get it correct,
Yeah,
but people do upload scat from a mountain lion. Okay.
And tracks as well, correct?
Tracks too, yeah,
okay.
tracks, yeah. Okay, so finally, I'm going to hit this explore button up top. So we've done our observations. Oh, there's so much more. But anyhow, this is going to get you
Identify bones?
certainly skulls. Okay, so explore is similar to everything you've seen, but now it's everything. So here there are over 150 million photos that have been uploaded to iNaturalist. Over 400,000 species, a bunch of people identifying, and over 2.8 million people who actually have uploaded things. So this is really popular. iNaturalist gets better every year. There are mushrooms I couldn't identify last year on iNaturalist that I can't identify this year because people have added photos in them.
Can you get this same functionality on your phone, or do you need to be on a computer?
You can, but it's awkward. There's a I button for information, or you can go to the website on your phone. And for instance, my wife is really used to doing things on her iPhone. I go nuts trying to do things on my iPhone. It's too small. I want to be on the website. I want to be on my computer. Okay, so I'm just going to show you this briefly. We're going to go back to weevils. Okay, and now we're going to go, okay, so this is 6,000 species, and we're going to go to weevils of Ecuador. Okay, all you have to do is type 3 letters in. Okay, now this shows 6,000 observations, but if I click on the species, there's 242 species. So if I photographed a weevil in Ecuador, 242 is manageable. I can go through this, especially if it's very distinctive. And it starts with the most frequent, down to the ones that only have one observation. So you can quickly go through this, and there's a good chance you can figure out what species you have, even if iNaturalist couldn't figure it out. Somebody once said it takes about 50 images before a program like this gets good. They may not have 50, they may only have 3 images of that particular species, but you can actually see it here. So that's the value of Explore, and it could be Knox County again, or Camden, or anything. It could be your backyard. Yes?
So let's say we all 4 are on it and we are all doing different things. Can you follow people
Yes.
that are in your friend group kind of? Or?
Yes. So how am I going to show that? If we go to community, go to people, and I'm just going to Jeannie Hutchins, is my wife. Sorry, Jeannie, you're now on Camden camera. Okay, searching results, Jeannie Hutchins here. So Jeannie hasn't put a description of herself in, okay. But you can message someone there. I follow Jeannie. This button would say follow, or here it says stop following if I don't want to see any more of Jeannie's photos. Okay, so that's the way you can follow somebody, and you can follow your friends. Or if you were interested in a particular thing and you knew an expert, you can follow them. And then it would come up under your dashboard up here. Okay, there's a bunch I haven't shown you. But okay, one other thing I want under this more, there's a teacher's guide down here. There's video tutorials here. So under that more button, there's a bunch of stuff that I haven't done how to identify things. There's just no more time. But if you were an expert in something and you wanted to learn how to, just email me at roger.rittmaster@gmail.com. And I'll be happy to show you how you can do identifications.
What do you mean by that?
So you can confirm. Okay, I'm going to show it quickly. We're going back to, let's go to my observations. Explore. Why isn't the identity anymore? Okay, identified. It's just not enough room up here for that to show up. Okay, so if I wanted to look at butterflies, since this is something I could actually do, and Maine, US, and go. Okay, so this brings up all of the butterflies that have not been confirmed. And a lot of these, for instance, this says skipper and it's a poor picture. There's no agree button because it's not at the species level. But if I saw something like this, which is a pearl crescent, I agree with that, I could hit agree. And then that then becomes research grade. And again, the same with this. I'm not going to do it now because I don't want to make a mistake and have something research grade. Okay, well, this one's easy, cabbage white. So I'm going to hit agree. See if that actually did that. Okay. So that's become, it's clicked as reviewed and it's become research grade. Okay. Any questions on the line or in here? There's tons more, but I think you're probably all overwhelmed with what possibly can do. And as I said, there are video tutorials, there's just searching around and playing with it.
I have a question. So this app Seek
Yes, I forgot about
That's-
that.
by iNaturalist?
Yes, so Seek uses a similar database, actually much the same database as iNaturalist, but it exists entirely on your smartphone. So the limitation is that it doesn't have nearly the ability as iNaturalist to identify things. But if you're looking for a sugar maple tree and you want to take a picture of the leaf, it'll recognize a sugar maple. Or some things will just do the genus level. Or it might say, yes, that's a goldenrod, but I don't know which one. Okay. And the great thing about Seek is a couple things. You don't have to actually take the picture. You can just point your camera in the Seek app, and if it knows what it is, it'll tell you what it is. It's great for kids because, again, it's entirely on the phone, so they're not on the internet and aren't exposed to anything on the internet. The Seek is excellent. Some people use Seek entirely. I don't use it at all because it's not as good as iNaturalist, but it's not bad for common things. And again, just look at the App Store, Seek, S-E-E-K.
Yeah, it came up as Seek by iNaturalist.
By iNaturalist. Yeah. So it is a great tool. Teachers use it all the time for students. And I have it on my computer or on my iPhone, but I haven't used it because iNaturalist itself is really easy to use. But the other thing about Seek is you're offline, you're beyond where the signal is, you're in the mountains somewhere. Yeah, you can still use Seek where you can't use iNaturalist if you're offline. Yes.
I took a picture of something and posted it on iNaturalist back in September 2nd, and it said unknown species. And I mean, I think it's a pretty common flower. I was just kind of playing with iNaturalist.
Right, so it could be, is it a garden variety?
Yes.
Yeah, so the problem there is it's there are lots of different varieties of various flowers, and it may not have enough in the database to be able to recognize that garden variety. It's best for native stuff that's out there, but it'll do exotic stuff as well, but just not a lot of the varieties that the horticulturists make.
I think I had that, and I just guessed, and then I got back then a response that it should be one of these, not what you guessed.
Yeah, okay. So somebody, yeah, so a live person said, looked over what you had and said, I disagree. And that's cool. I mean, that's what you want.
Right, so that I think, don't be happy with, unknown. Put something in.
Well, yeah, so you could do your best guess as to what it is and put it up there. So, and I would encourage you to do that. The more specific you are, the more you're likely to get an expert. So if you just put plant up there, then no, it's not going to come up under any searches. But if you put aster, Then somebody will look at it, and again, if it's a good photo, they may be able to tell you which aster it is. Other questions? Any on the line or,
No more at the moment.
okay, any from the audience?
So iPhone cameras do okay, or?
Wow, so if you can afford an iPhone 13, 14, or now 15, it does macro photography. I just got one 2 months ago, and I'm still trying to figure out with which of the 3 cameras I can get to. But yes, so let me just go back to my photos, my observations. I'm just going to show you an iPhone.
Oh,
Are we still online?
yes, someone has a question.
Okay, hold on one sec.
Okay.
Hold on. So I just took this afternoon with my iPhone. Okay. Yes, it's cropped, but I was pretty close anyhow. That's the quality you can now get with a close-up from the iPhone 13 on up. It's amazing what they can do. It takes some practice to get it to focus in up close, but I was able to do it on this fly. It's a wasp mimic, but you know it's a fly because it has really tiny antennae, and that's how you differentiate a fly from other orders of insects. Okay,
Roger, ask it.
one sec, there's somebody online first, and then we'll go.
Should we upload a variety of angles of one thing for a better ID?
Yes, so if you can do that, the key thing, I mean, imagine yourself as the confirmer of an identification. If it's a flower, you want a picture of the leaves as well, because that could make a difference, especially for things like asters, which are, the difference may be very subtle between one species and another. So yes, multiple angles. Landis.
So bird calls?
You can record bird calls, but at least as of 2 months ago, it couldn't identify them. I'm surprised because Merlin, if people know that app, does a great job at identifying. So yeah, if you want to do bird songs, Merlin, Merlin, is just phenomenal. And in fact, if you go on the Coastal Mountain Land Trust website to my Nature Now column, I did one on Merlin. So it tells you how to use Merlin. Yes.
Is there a similar app for other animal sounds, not just birds?
Frogs, I think so, but I'm not sure. But iNaturalist, I think, will eventually do katydids, cicadas, all that stuff. Because why not? I mean, the technology is there. There's also one thing I didn't mention. There's a whole associated forum with iNaturalist where you can ask questions. So that's under community. There's a drop down in that forum, and it's, you have to have an account, and you have to have a different account. So the forum is a separate account under iNaturalist. So you could theoretically have a different password or the same password to use the forum, and they have different divisions depending on what your question is. There's a forum for educators, there's a forum for all different stuff.
Well, I feel like I'm eager to get out in the field. And
I'm
start
overwhelmed,
identifying
so if you
things.
guys aren't overwhelmed, then you're better than I am. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And what's over here for Coastal Mountain Land Trust?
Lots of information about our upcoming events.